In today's video, we play Freeway Fighter, the post-apocalyptic solo adventure game written by Games Workshop co-founder Ian Livingstone. Well, hello folks, and welcome to the channel. I'm Lee, your old hammered host. I'm here with Lynn.
Hello.
Today we're going to play 1985's Freeway Fighter, a fighting fantasy gamebook in which the reader becomes the hero. This paperback adventure comes complete with a lightweight D6 combat system, monster encounters, and a score sheet, so it is basically a mass-market solo RPG adventure that could be sold alongside fantasy and sci-fi paperbacks at the local bookstore back when there were such things. Freeway Fighter was written by Sir Ian Livingstone, co-founder of the Fighting Fantasy book series, as well as a co-founder of Games Workshop. Sir Ian was also a co-designer of Games Workshop's 1983 car combat game, Battle Cars, which predated its later Dark Future Miniatures game. Other titles in the extensive Fighting Fantasy series include The Warlock of Firetop Mountain, Death Trap Dungeon, City of Thieves, and Space Assassin, along with a host of others, many of which are still in publication. So the premise of Freeway Fighter is that on July 21st, 2022, and I'm not kidding about that date, a global plague breaks out, killing 85% of the world's population in just 4 days. By February of 2023, humanity was divided into two major groups, those living in fortified communities, attempting to rebuild society, and barbaric raiders who seemingly revel in destroying the last pockets of civilization. In Freeway Fighter, the reader's mission is to travel to the far distant oil refinery at San Anglo and bring a loaded fuel tanker back to your peaceful hometown of New Hope. Even driving an armed and armored Dodge Interceptor, the journey will be wild and perilous. Will you survive? So the hero in Freeway Fighter has three basic stats, namely skill, stamina, and luck. The hero starts with a revolver and enough ammo to last the entire mission, a knife, 10 health packs which can heal 4 hit points apiece, and 200 post-apocalyptic credits, though most folks prefer to barter for goods and services. You can also pick up fuel and additional modifications as the adventure progresses. The hero's Dodge Interceptor has stats for firepower and armor, and is equipped with turret-mounted, computer-controlled machine guns, 4 guided missiles, 3 canisters of iron spikes, 2 drums of oil slick oil, and 2 spare tires. And there is also fuel and additional car modifications that you can pick up during the adventure, so I guess we'll just have to see how that all works. And Lynn is going to be playing the hero today. So what is the name of your hero here, Lynn?
Jordina Deadeye. She was named after Geordi from Star Trek.
Oh, okay, Geordi from Star Trek. So Jordina is going to be driving her Dodge Interceptor to the distant refinery at San Anglo, and she's carrying seeds and grain that they're going to use to kind of jumpstart their agriculture. And apparently, in exchange, they're going to give her a tanker full of fuel that she is going to drive back to New Hope, and that's going to be used to help jumpstart their industry. So it's going to be a fair exchange, but first she's got to get there. So that's going to be the adventure today. So our plan today here is to play for about an hour in real time, so that'll be much shorter in edited video time, but that should give you a sense of how the game works. And then if people like the video, who knows, maybe down the road we will pick it up where we left off. We'll just have to see. Okay, so Lynn has rolled for all her stats, and she did pretty well with her die rolls. So what do you have there for your stats?
I have a skill of 11, stamina of 30, luck of 12, firepower of 10, and armor of 34.
Okay, so firepower and armor are for the car. Everything else is for your character, and she has quite a lot of luck, though when you use luck, it depletes, though I guess you can replace it over time. Okay, well, let's start our adventure today. Freeway Fighter by Sir Ian Livingstone.
The yellow dice will be the enemies, and the blue dice will be mine.
Okay. Chapter 1. The first thing to strike you as you cruise along the road is the speed at which everything has fallen into decay. You hadn't realized how much maintenance was needed to support civilization. All around, buildings are falling into ruin, abandoned cars litter the roads, grass and weeds have grown rampant everywhere, and packs of dogs and other wild animals roam freely. You stop at a small town some 15 kilometers from New Hope and switch off your engine. Suddenly, it is deathly silent, apart from an eerie howl of a dog somewhere down the street. You are tempted to get out of the car and explore, but realize that is an unnecessary risk. You are about to start your engine again when suddenly the sound of a shotgun breaks the silence. If you wish to get out of the car to investigate, turn to 126. If you would rather drive out of town, turn to 34.
Let's drive out of town.
Driving out of town. Vroom, vroom. So, okay. So she gets in the car, drives out of town. You are soon out of town, zigzagging around wrecked cars and fallen trees along the road. Further ahead, you can see that the road joins with the main highway south. There is a small filling station at the junction named Joe's Garage. You stop as you are intrigued by the hot rod parked around the side, looking clean and in running condition. A young girl suddenly comes out of the office, wearing a t-shirt and blue jeans. She smiles and says, "Hi, can I help you?" If you wish to talk to her, turn to 302. If you would rather drive up onto the highway, turn to 167.
Oh, let's talk to her. Could be dangerous, but let's do it anyway.
Okay. Okay, turning to 302. You open the door and climb out of the interceptor. As you walk up to the girl, a man with a shaved head jumps out from behind one of the pumps holding a crowbar and shouts, "Surprise! Let's have your keys and your creds. No funny business unless you want to get hurt." If you wish to give him your car keys and credits, turn to 209. If you'd rather fight him with your knife, turn to 48.
Oh, let's fight him. We don't want to lose our car right away.
All right. Fight, fight, fight. It's a big fight. With a knife. Okay, gripping your knife tightly, you crouch down, waiting for the thug to make his move. Suddenly he screams and leaps at you. So he has a skill of 7 and a stamina of 10. Okay, so what happens here is it's a skill versus skill roll, and then whoever loses a point of stamina, but whoever loses 6 stamina is knocked out. So go ahead and roll. So for example, here our hero Jordina rolled a 7 plus her skill of 11, so that's 18, versus the thugs, what is that? Like 13, right? Mm-hmm. So he loses 1 point of stamina. And we'll just keep doing that until he's down. Loses another one. It's a furious battle. So what is that? Is that 18 versus 18? So that's a push. Okay, the thug is down 3. So the thug has taken 4 hits so far, and Jordina hasn't taken any. But what I didn't realize at first was that both the knife and the crowbar each cause 2 wounds every time they hit. So the thug is actually down 8 stamina at this point, which means he's knocked out. Okay. If you win, turn to 138. 138. You stagger back from the thug as he slumps to the floor, and then the girl starts up the engine of the hot rod. In a cloud of breading rubber, she screeches up the road to the highway and is gone. If you wish to chase her, turn to 75. If you would rather search the garage, turn to 146.
Search the garage.
Search the garage. So the girl drives off in her hot rod, and you opt to search the garage. Everything inside the garage is either broken or useless. The office and workshop are filled with rubbish, and a thick layer of dust covers everything. The man and the girl must just use this place occasionally as a trap for unwary passerby. The only item you can find that might be of use is a heavy chain. You coil it up and pack it inside the interceptor before driving off down the highway. Turn to 167.
Well, at least we got a heavy chain.
At least you got a chain out of the deal. Correct.
Yeah.
Turning to 167. Despite the hazard of having to avoid abandoned cars, the highway is wide enough for you to gather plenty of speed. It's exciting to drive so freely without fear of being hauled in by the police for violating some traffic regulation or other. You smile as your speed reaches 190 kilometers per hour, but your joy is short-lived. You see a red Chevrolet, heavily reinforced with steel plating, coming straight towards you. Someone is sitting in a small turret in the roof, a machine gunner. You think to yourself that maybe having to deal with police in the old days wasn't so bad compared to what is coming at you now. You breathe in deeply and get ready to press the machine gun fire button. This is the closest thing we have to a red Chevy, so we'll use that. It is a red Chevy with firepower of 8 and armor of 15. Now what you could do is you could use a rocket and just blow him up. Rockets destroy their targets automatically, but you only have 4 in inventory. The other option is to simply duke it out with machine guns and try to whittle his armor down to 0. So with the machine guns, I think if you hit, you roll a d6 to see how much armor you take off the enemy, and vice versa. So he has firepower of 8 and armor of 15, and you have firepower of what?
I have firepower of 10 and armor of 34.
Okay, so you have more than twice as much armor, and you have greater firepower.
So let's fight it out.
Okay. He's going to add 8 to his rolls, and you're going to add 10 to your rolls. Okay, so that's a hit. So then you roll a d6 to see how many points of armor you take off. 5. So he's down from 15 armor to 10. And oh, he hits. So roll a d6. You lose 6 points of armor.
Ouch. Can't have any more of that. We win.
You succeed because you have more firepower. He loses 3 points of armor, down to 7. And you win again because you have more firepower. Roll a d6.
6.
He's down to 1 point of armor, down to his last one. And you lose. You take 5 more points
This is not good.
off your armored dodge,
Ah.
your dodge interceptor, and you won that one.
Okay.
So he blows up. So you destroy the Chevy. Kaboom. But how many points of armor did you lose?
I lost 11.
11 points of armor off your 34. So you're down to what, 23?
23, yeah.
23 points of armor left on the Dodge Interceptor. Could have used a rocket and dispatched him immediately.
I could have, but I have a feeling there's some more dangerous stuff coming later.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, turning to 188. You stop your interceptor to examine the burning wreck. Who were these people and why did they attack you without warning? You shake your head and hit the accelerator, eager to reach your destination. Suddenly, a voice comes through on the radio with a crackling static. It is one of New Hope's leaders. She tells you how a gang of bikers just attacked New Hope, killing 8 people in the process. After a short battle, they were eventually defeated. She warned you to be on the lookout for them, as they have kidnapped Sinclair, the council leader. You acknowledge the message and say goodbye. After about an hour or so of driving without any further incident, you notice that your petrol gauge is dropping. The Interceptor is very heavy on petrol. You stop and pour the contents of a fuel canister into the tank, realizing you will have to find some more petrol soon. A few kilometers further, you know your luck has really run out. There must have been a car crash at the time of the disaster, which caused a huge tailback of now abandoned cars. It is impossible to continue along the highway. You reverse back to the last exit and drive off the highway. You must decide which way to head along the road which crosses it. If you wish to drive east, turn to 341. If you wish to drive west, turn to 66.
East.
Okay, heading east, 341. You pass an ambulance parked on the road to your right, but see no sign of life. If you wish to stop to investigate the ambulance, turn to 267. If you'd rather keep driving east, turn to 22.
I think I need to check for some health packs and petrol. They might be in there.
Oh yeah, you might be able to siphon some gas. Who knows?
Could be another ambush, but what the heck.
We don't have an ambulance, so this will have to do. You park your Interceptor and walk back to the ambulance. The driver's cab is empty, though the ambulance looks like it might have been driven recently. If you wish to open the rear door and look inside, turn to 195. If you would rather head back inside the Interceptor and head east, turn to 22.
Gotta have some excitement. Let's open the door.
Open the
No
door.
guts, no glory.
You turn the handle and pull. An explosion, accompanied by a brilliant white flash and deafening noise, sends you reeling backwards. The door was booby-trapped. Roll 1 die and deduct that number from your stamina score. Only 1, so that's good.
I have some good body armor.
The door hangs off its hinges, but there is nothing inside the ambulance. Its owner will probably be on his way now to see who he has caught. You feel too weak to reach the Interceptor and decide to crawl into hiding. If you wish to hide in the grass, turn to 182. If you wish to hide under the ambulance, turn to 356. So you're blown off your feet.
I'm gonna hide in the grass.
Okay. You crawl painfully into the tall grass and wait. Soon you hear the noise of approaching footsteps. Through the grass, you see a scruffy man, gun in hand, only a few meters away. A cigar hangs out of the corner of his mouth, and around his head is tied a red headband. He is obviously the man who set the booby trap. Suddenly he sees your trail of blood leading into the grass. He turns and fires blindly into the grass. Test your luck. If you're lucky, turn to 227. If you're unlucky, turn to 116. So you roll 2 dice, and you got to get equal to or less than your luck, which is what, 11?
12.
7. So you were lucky, but now you lose a point of luck because it depletes, though it can be replaced over time, I guess. a bullet thuds into the ground only a meter away, you immediately sit up and return fire. So the highwayman has a skill of 8 and a stamina of 12. So fire away. So what is your skill again?
Mine is 11.
So that's a 20 versus his 11. So when you're fighting fisticuffs, you can knock somebody out, but when you're shooting at each other, it's to the death. So you roll a d6 to see how many points he takes. 5 points of stamina off his total of 12, down to 7. Shooting again.
We win again?
You win again. Roll another die for the poor highwayman.
Ooh, that time only 2.
It's only 2.
That was only a glancing blow.
That's right, you grazed him. You grazed his headband. Rolling again. And ooh, let's see. So that's a 7.
Plus 8 is 15.
15.
And 5 plus 11 is 16.
16. So you won again because you have pretty good skill.
But I'm only grazing him. My aim is off.
And shooting again.
And beat him again.
And you hit him again. 2. You're whittling him away. Is he down yet?
1 point.
There's 1 point left. And you got
Hit him again, yeah.
Okay. You didn't take any wounds, but you killed the highwayman.
Yes.
Okay. You search through the dead man's pockets and find 150 credits and a pair of knuckle dusters. When you feel strong enough, you limp back to your interceptor, turning the ignition key and burning up the road, heading east. Turn to 22. You flash past a road sign which shows a turning to the south immediately ahead. If you wish to drive south, turn to 311. If you wish to keep cruising east, turn to 203.
Let's go back south.
Go south. A few miles down the road, you come to a small, crudely constructed wooden bridge which crosses a narrow river. There is a sign nailed to the bridge warning you not to cross the river. If you intend to drive across regardless, turn to 229. If you'd rather turn around and drive back to the last junction, turn to 124.
Let's go to 124.
Okay, you're not crossing the bridge.
No, I don't want to cross the rickety bridge.
You are soon back at the T-junction and stop to decide which way to head. If you want to turn right, go to 203. If you'd rather turn left and head west, turn to 344.
We don't want to go west because that's going back the way we came.
All right, turning to the right, 203. The speedometer reads well above the maximum speed limit that is used to control the road, but you know there is no chance of getting a speeding ticket now. Your enjoyment, however, is short-lived. A roadblock of upturned cars and trucks comes into view. You slow down and survey the scene, sensing danger. Will you fire a rocket at the roadblock, try to drive around the roadblock, or turn around and drive back to the last junction to head south?
We're going to blow it up.
Fire a rocket at the roadblock. Okay. Turn to 372. The interceptor shakes as the rocket is fired, and the explosion which follows immediately is loud and blinding. When the smoke clears, you see that the roadblock no longer exists. Suddenly, you hear the roar of a motorcycle engine starting up and see 2 leather-clad armed riders appear from behind a bush and blaze up the road through a hole in the roadblock. The passenger turns and fires a warning shot at you as the bike races away. If you wish to drive after them, turn to 95. If you'd rather let them get away, turn to 309. So, are you going to drive after them or let them get away?
That was really dumb on their part, don't you think? So,
Does that mean you're going to pursue?
I'm going to pursue them.
All right.
Probably a silly thing to do, but if they would have just driven off, they would have been safe.
It was the warning shot that was insulting.
Yes, it was.
Okay, turning to 95. Before you have time to catch them, they turn around and drive straight toward you. The machine gun above the headlamp blazes red and white as it spits bullets at you. You press the accelerator down on the floor and race the interceptor toward them, your finger clutching the machine gun trigger. So, motorcycle has a firepower of 6 and armor of 9. All right, so they have firepower of 6 and you have firepower of what?
10.
10. Okay, you got a 14, so you beat them, so roll a die. 3 off their armor of 9, so they're down to 6. Okay, so you have 18 versus their 16, so you still beat them, right?
Yep.
That was close.
That was close.
Rolling damage, 4 more. 2 points of armor left on the motorcycle. Firing again. And, ooh, they got a 16 versus your 16.
16. Oh,
Ooh,
so that's a push.
that's a push. You lucked out.
I did. Beat them.
You win, and you explode them.
I very
the
much
motorcycle
explode them.
Blows up. Okay, turn to 249. You walk over to the wrecked bike, carrying your revolver in one hand and a medical kit in the other. One of the men is dead and the other is barely alive. You kick his pistol away from him and see if he can be saved. He opens his eyes, smiles, and says, "Fat Jack and the boys will get you for this." Then he slumps over and is still. Your medikit cannot help him. You check the bike over and notice a locked side pannier. If you'd like to open the pannier, turn to 206. If you'd rather head off east without wasting any more time, turn to 163.
Open it.
Open the pannier.
Treasure.
Treasure. Okay, 206, you fire at the lock. Inside you find a pair of handcuffs, a map, and 200 credits. After putting the handcuffs and credits in your jacket pocket, you look at the map. There is a red circle drawn around New Hope. Obviously, these men came from the same gang that attacked New Hope. A small town named Rockville is marked with a red cross and is not too far southeast from where you are now. No doubt it is the temporary home of the bikers. If you wish to drive south to Rockville, turn to 157. If you'd rather keep heading east, turn to 45. So, will you confront the bikers?
I've got to find the councilman.
Okay, you got to find the councilman. All right, so that is where we're going to stop for today. And if people like the video, maybe we'll continue at another time. Maybe that'll be something that we can do every once in a while till we finish the adventure. All right, folks, that is a wrap on today's installment of Freeway Fighter from Sir Ian Livingstone. And it was kind of fun, I thought.
It was fun. I always liked the pick your own adventure books, so this is just kind of a fun twist.
That's right. Very much choose your own adventure, but with a Mad Max flavor.
I got blown up once.
Yeah, you got blown up trying to pilfer the ambulance.
Yes. And I did find a few things, not much. And I do have a lot of credits at the moment.
You have a lot of credits. You have a chain. You have a knuckle duster. You have some handcuffs and some other things. Maybe those will come in handy. But at any rate, we hope you enjoyed today's presentation. Thanks very much for stopping by. We'll be back soon with some more gaming nonsense. But until then, take care of yourselves. Have some fun.
And watch out for those bandits and booby traps.
That's right.